So through the mouth, inhale twice, exhale like a sigh. And somewhat smooth, right? It's a little engaging because it's a mouth, but make it diffuse. So inhale, exhale. Almost like a little gasp on the inhale. Exhale. Exhale. Do more. Slow it down so it's even more diffuse. Exhale. Really allowing your body to receive fully on the inhale. Exhale, release fully. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, open mouth. Belly based. And again, just pause and notice. Notice the difference from the last breathing exercise. Just the quality, the different sensations. Just noticing the difference. Right? One is more of a down regulating breath, one is a little bit more of a stimulating breath. But it depends on your system. Depends on how your system processes the breath. Notice what your experience is. Together in front of your heart. And letting the sound, the vibration move through your body. Just take the way to shake things up, the reverberation. So, once you lay on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, let's just take the arms out to the side for a moment. Palms up, letting the fingers open, just a very quiet stretch of the hand. Extending the fingers, maybe even sinking them back towards the floor. Subtle, still a little bit of that inner arm and the nerves of the inner arm stretch. And let's take the arms up just a little higher from the shoulder. Same. And open palm. Open fingers, soft but open. And then take the arms a little higher, further away from the hips. Still on the floor if you can. Noticing the back body. Sometimes the ribs want to arch away from the floor. The back body starts to engage a little bit. See if you can soften back body. Soften the upper arm. Shoulder blade area. Collarbone area. Letting the breath stay full so that movement, swelling and filling and settling and empty. Movement of the ribs affects the tissue. And taking the arms a little further up, again, noticing the back starts to arch. You can always slip your blanket under your hands or your blocks under your hands if you need that extra height under the arms. Again, using the breath interfacing with nervous system, engaging tissue. Right, so the exhale helping to find that the adaptation in the tissue, adapting to the different shape. And last one, maybe arms overhead. Maybe we went slow enough so that it feels okay. Again, you can always put your hands on a blanket or on a blanket. And bringing the arms back in line with the shoulders, straight out to the side. Okay, and then let's grab our strap. I'm trying to figure out if my strap is long enough to tie around my feet. I'm going to try it, but my strap might not be long enough. You can try your TheraBand. You can just mock it or tie it. Oh, that's okay. Mine's long enough. Good. Okay, and we're just going to start simple, pointing and flex. You can hold the strap so it doesn't roll too much. Point and flex. And point and flex. Good, and then I'm going to turn the foot towards the left side of the room, the right foot towards the left side of the room, stretching the outer ankle and outer shin, or outer lower leg, and then turn the foot towards the right side of the room, which I feel in my hamstring. And one more time, turn the foot, right, as if you could put the sole of the foot on the left side of the left wall. And then the other way, right side of the room. Okay. And then extending that left leg. Good. And just a little circle. Let's just make a small circle. And you can guide the strap with your hands. You don't want it rolling on your back. And smooth circle. Noticing if there's clicking or thunking, making the circle move around the clicking, right? Rather than creating the clicking. Change the shape of the circle. Then change direction. A middle size circle might be a little bit bigger, or you can stay pretty small. Okay. And then center, and I'm just going to take the leg towards the body, and then away from the body, maybe to the floor, and then up and down and up and down and up and down. This time up, out to the side. So I'm going out to the side, keeping the hips even on the floor, and then around and down and up and out to the side. Pause there for a moment. Again, left hip is heavy as that right leg reaches into the band and then scoops around and down towards the foot and up. I'm going to change direction. So down, slowly out, and pause, and then scoop up to center. Good. Okay. And then I'm going to let the legs swing out to the side again. Right, so it's either in line with the hip or slightly above, letting the legs stretch away from each other. So the leg that's on the floor, the left leg is still active. And then right leg up to the ceiling and across to the left. Right hip is still on the floor. Again, maybe turn the sole of the foot towards that left wall just to get that outer line of the leg. And then maybe let's go a little further. So I'm going to let the pelvis turn. I'm going to end up on that outer left hip, right shoulder is on the floor. Good. And then slowly roll the back of the pelvis back onto the floor. Leg comes up, right leg out to the side. And up to the ceiling and across, keeping that right hip on the floor for the first few beats, first breath or two. And then let the pelvis turn. And again, the legs are pretty dynamic. So that left leg is anchoring into the floor and almost swinging back away from the right leg. Swing is a strong word. It's drawing away from the right leg. Right, the oppositional forces to support you. And then right leg up again. One more time, out to the right. Good, up to center. Across to the left, keeping that right hip on the floor. Again, playing with the foot. You can even turn the foot towards the ceiling now. Or turn towards the left wall, just getting into that lower leg ankle. Even play with, maybe make a circle so you feel, or play with externally rotating the leg, internally rotating the leg. It's getting different tissues that cross the hip joint. And then take that leg across, rotating to the left. And then back up to center. Okay, so now I'm going to reach my arms forward. Maybe you can use your arms if you want to, but I'm going to press my right leg into my strap and come up. And then I'm just going to try to lengthen. So feeling the strap where it is to the lower rib cage, almost trying to lift up from that part of the back. Lifting towards the right leg, lifting towards you, and then slowly round down to come back to the floor. Leg comes towards you. One more time. Rounding forward to come up, and then feel where the strap is. Let that part of your back lift up away from the pelvis and up towards the leg. And then slowly round down. Good, let's take that right leg towards the left leg just for a moment. And back up. Same thing, rounding forward. Slowly round up. And again, lift from where your strap is, lifting that the back ribs up off the back of the pelvis. And last time, rounding down. Good. And just taking your strap off. Stretch your leg out. Just feeling right leg, left leg. Just feeling the difference. And then let's bend that left leg. You can even bend both legs. Let's start with the left foot on the strap with the right leg bent. And the strap behind you, just about at lower rib, right? So the top of the waist. And pointing and holding the strap just so it doesn't slide around too much, and flexing, and point, and flex,
pointing so you can curl the toes towards the heels, stretching the tops of the toes. And then flex, pulling the tips of the toes towards the shin. Reach up through that heel. And turning now the sole of the foot towards the right side of the room, stretching that outer ankle, outer shin, outer knee, and the opposite left side of the room, inner ankle, and again to the right side of the room. Just getting some of the tissue on the side and front, side and back. And again, sole of the foot towards the left side of the room. Again, you can even play with internally rotating the leg as you do that, and then externally rotating the leg as you turn the sole of the foot to the right side. Just that interesting, taking it all the way up the line to the hip. Okay, straightening that right leg. Again, the legs are opposing each other, right leg moving towards the floor, into the floor, left leg moving into the strap and towards you. Good, and again, I'm just gonna hold the strap, left leg towards the right leg, and up, and down, and up. So even though I'm engaging my hip flexors, right, still that sense of sitting bones towards the bottom of the mat. So the torso and waist are still long, and down, and up. Last time, down, and up. Okay, let's make a circle. Down, swing out to the side. Oops, let's do our little circles first. I forgot. Little circles. And you can experiment with neutral foot, pointing foot, flexing foot. Again, if there's any snapping or cracking, thunking, just make this shape, different shape to move around that. Good, and then change direction. Smooth circle, playing with maybe even the speed. Either slower, just changing, varying the speed. Slower or faster. Maybe play with the circumference, being just a little bigger. Okay. All right, let's start from up and go out to the side. Again, legs are opposing each other, and that the pelvis is somewhat heavy. I'm not following that left leg. And then the left leg moves down towards the right leg and up through the center. Again, the left leg, the femur is moving in the hip joint. Leg is moving around the pelvis. Pelvis is pretty stationary, not fixed. Left leg out to the side. And slowly down and up and out to the side. And slowly down and around and up through the center. Change direction. Down through the center, out through the side, out to the side. Again, right leg might need to be a little more active. Engaging with the floor, pause, and then swoop forward and up. Okay, let's take that left leg out to the left. Again, feeling that opposition, the right leg is actually pulling to the right just to oppose the weight of the left leg. And right hip still kind of on the floor. And left leg up, left leg across to the right side of the room. Hip is still on the floor, that left hip tight. And then turning the sole of the foot towards the right side of the room just to get that outer from the hip to the outer ankle. And then turning that foot, sole of the foot towards the ceiling. Good, and then let's take the leg further across, turning the pelvis. So right, outer right hip on the floor, left shoulder on the floor. Breathing. Again, legs are in opposition, right? So the left leg is moving to the right leg is almost pulling back to the left. Down and back. Slowly up to center and out to the left. Good. Again, feeling that opposition. So you're almost trying to move out away from the center. Right? So the pelvis doesn't have to kind of grip to support. There's a dynamic reach away from the pelvis and into the pelvis. Left leg up and across, keeping the hip on the floor for a breath or two. And then letting the pelvis rotate as that left leg reaches across to the right. Left shoulder on the floor. Good, and left leg back up to center one more time. Left leg out to the side. Sitting bones still moving towards the bottom of the mat. So the waist is quite long. And left leg up. So everything is quite dynamic. Left leg across to the right. So ribs lengthening away from pelvis, pelvis away from ribs, legs away from pelvis, legs towards pelvis. And then left leg reaching across, turning the pelvis as it reaches. Again, you can play with turning the sole of the foot towards the floor or to the ceiling, right? Playing with that internal rotation and external rotation as you do so. Just to get more access to different directions of fibers. And then back up to center. Okay, let's take left leg down to the right leg and up. And then I'm going to bring my hands higher up and I'm going to round. Right, head up, round the ribs up, roll up to sit. Again, feel the strap, lift the ribs up off the pelvis, lift up through the crown of the head, and then slowly roll back down. Good. And again, rounding to roll up, lift, and lifting, getting long through that back waist, and rounding down. And left leg down to meet the right leg and back up. Last time, rounding and lifting and rounding. Good. And then strap off that left foot and strap off of your back. Then just stretch your legs out on the floor, just feeling the hips. You can even just wiggle the hips side to side. Yay. And then bend your knees, roll to your side, and come up to sit. So we did get a lot. All right, so let's take our strap. You can even keep the loop here. Let's actually take hands in the loop and just press out a little, press out into the strap. And keeping the ribs somewhat neutral. Start with the legs crossed and take the arms above. Again, if the shoulders are tight, the ribs are going to want to pull forward. So I'm going to keep the ribs somewhat neutral. Those lower ribs just tucked in towards the pubis as the arms come up. And then arms come down. And then arms slowly come up. Pressing out into the strap. And slowly down. And slowly up, still pressing out into the band. Good, and down. Good, and then let's take the strap up, just shoulder height. Still have that tension. I'm gonna turn. So I'm keeping the tension. So the right arm is pulling more, but the left arm is still pulling to keep some tightness in the strap, the band, and then back to center. Now turning left arm pulls a little bit more, ribs turn, still that tension between the two arms, and center. One more time, right. Long neck, long waist, and center, and turn left. Good, and center. Let's do one more. Threes are good. And center and left. And center. Okay. Strap off just for a moment. Okay, let's bring feet together. Let's do a little sideways stretch. So we've done this one before. So right hand, right side of the body. I'm just going to tip onto the right hip. So left hand just stays for a moment on the left thigh, just reminding that left thigh to stay heavy, right? So the right ribs are really tucking into the right side of the pelvis as the left side of the pelvis is falling away. And coming up on the other side. And using your right hand just to feel that my outer hip and front hip get a little overactive. So just reminding that front side hip as I tip to the left, just to stay quiet. But use gravity. And center. First side again. This time I'm going to let that left arm come up. Right as the hand and arm come away from the thigh, right, letting that full side body lengthen. Hip moving down, ribs moving up and over to the right. And up. Other side. Again, right arm comes up. The right hip moves down. Right hip and thigh move down. Letting the breath help lift the ribs up and over to the left. Especially that right side of the ribs. And up through center. First side again, up and over. Then maybe bring the hand behind the head, elbow, armpit, ribs, just gently with the breath reaching away as the hip tries to come back towards the floor, thigh and hip. And then re-extend that arm, reaching to the right side of the room. And up you come. Other side again. And arm up and over. Again, feeling all the layers. Armpit, upper arm, ribs, waist, lower back, front hip, all the places that might be sticky. Hand behind the head, elbow away, and using the breath just to help find some movement in those right side ribs as they're lifting up and over to the left. And back up. One more time. So this time I'm going to let the right forearm come to the floor. If that's challenging, you can put a blanket under your forearm. Left arm up and over. Left hip dropping away, thigh heavy, hip heavy. Good, and then rounding, bringing that left hand towards the floor. Maybe even the forearm towards the floor. Maybe it doesn't come all the way down, just reaches towards the floor. Then turn the belly, turn the ribs to the right. Good, take that left arm back up to the ceiling, reach up, straight up. And then rounding down again. Left hand to the floor, maybe the forearm towards the floor. Left hip falling away from the ribs towards the floor. Right on the other side of the body. One more time, left arm up. Turn and look up. And then rounding. Letting the shoulder blades spread, the back round, the head drop, the ribs turn to the right as much as they can. Left thigh heavy. And then coming up, left arm over, little side bend. And slowly come up. Okay, other side, left hand down. Left forearm down, right arm up and over. And again, you can be on a block, a blanket. And noticing when that right hip wants to lift and follow, or the right thigh, or the front hip, groin wants to help. See if it needs to. Now I'm gonna round again. Right hand towards the floor. Maybe forearm towards the floor. It doesn't have to come, it can just suggest. Turning the belly button towards the left. And then rotate again, right arm up to the ceiling. Turn and look up. Right shoulder blades come towards the spine, and then as you round, the shoulder blades go wide, the ribs turn, the head drops, the ribs get full in the back. Turning the breastbone to the left and the belly button. One more time, right arm up. Look up. And then rounding, bring that hand and forearm maybe down. Maybe. Belly, ribs turn. Notice the right thigh, how active it is, the right hip. And then come back to the side bend, really allowing that right hip to drop. And come back up to sit. Okay, something a little more neutral. Let's take the crown or the head forward, crown of the head moving forward. So as the head moves forward, as the face drops, breastbone moves back, upper spine moves back. Maybe the hands come to the floor, again, just to help you navigate your weight over your thighs, because you will feel it in your lower back and your outer hips, maybe outer hamstrings. Just notice where you feel it. Breathing, softening, supporting yourself with the hands as much as you need to. And then slowly come back up. Okay, great. So can we do one thing standing? Just one thing, not very long. Not very long. Okay, feet parallel, just a couple of movements. So I'm just going to take arms out to the side just for balance. Feet, or actually I'm just going to step. So I'm standing. Actually, I'm just going to play bending knees, feet parallel, bend knees, straighten, bend knees again, and straighten. Maybe lift the heels up, lower the heels. bend the knees again. Straighten, slowly lift the heels again and lower. Turning the feet out, so toes slightly out, heels in, bending. Just getting that little more stretch through the lower leg, into the feet. Straighten, bend, straighten, this time lifting the heels. Nice and slow, feeling all 10 toes engaged, slowly lower. And bend, straighten, and lift. And lower. Good. Now let's turn the toes slightly in. Toes in, heels wide. Bend. And straighten. Bend. And straighten. Slowly lift. Lower. Bend. Straighten. Lift the heels. All 10 toes engaged, right? Notice if you're favoring one side of the foot. And lower, bend, straighten. Okay, so I'm going to stand on the left leg. I'm just going to take the right leg out to the side and then step it back behind the left leg and just step that heel on the floor. And step forward again, out to the side, just a little bit of a balance challenge, and step even further back. Left knee's going to bend a little bit. I'm going to step into that back heel. And then step forward again, just toe tip on the floor. Just a simple kick and out. Shift my weight onto the right leg and bend the right leg. Let that left leg fall, walk out to the side, little inner thigh stretch. Good. And then slide the leg back in and come up to stand. Let's do the other side. Okay. Left leg out, just a little balance challenge, right? I'm just preparing to stand on one foot and back. Bend the front knee so I can step into that back heel. I feel it up into the back of the lower leg. And then shift the weight forward and out to the side and back. Stand in that back foot, front knee is bent, and step, get a little kick, back out. Shift onto that leg. You can walk the right leg out to the side, just a little half squat. And then maybe just shift to the other side and shift and shift. Then shift back to that first side where we started, slide the other leg in, come up to stand. We'll do one more time each side. Again, just a little balance challenge. So notice where you stand in the standing leg. Right leg back, standing leg bend, step into the back leg, and then again, I'm going to shift forward now to the side and back and out and kick and out, shift my weight onto that leg and bend, little squat. And then come up to stand. Good, other side. Standing on the right leg, left toe tip to the floor. Step back, bend the front leg, step, big enough step back so you can feel it in the back of the lower leg. And you have that long distance to step. Step out again and back. And out, and kick, and down, and shift, and a little half squat. And again, just shifting side to side, center. So I'm straightening both legs, toes pointed forward. Just gonna walk the hands forward slightly, and then walk them further forward. Hips stay where they are, legs are vertical. As the hands keep walking forward, they're in a almost downward dog shape. One more breath. And then walk the hands back in. Hands under shoulders, start to walk the heels in, both heels in, and then both toes in, both heels, both toes. Walking the feet towards each other. And then let's walk hands forward, feet back, downward dog. Balancing the weight in your feet and hands, or exploring. Doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, just noticing where you sit, right? I tend to favor my outer right foot. So I'm just gonna roll into the inner foot. Notice how that shifts the dynamic through the whole body, right? You're just exploring. And then both knees down. And shift your legs around. Come sit on your butt. Okay, so on your backs. And just folding my blanket, putting it under my thighs. But bending the knees, feet on the blanket just for a moment before we straighten the legs. Feeling the feet settle, feeling the back of the pelvis settle, feeling the waist and lower back get quiet and the ribs settle. Shoulder blades. As the back of the rib cage settles, noticing the front body soften. The belly. Breastbone, front ribs, the breath. The throat, front of the neck, back of the neck. Jaw and face. And then when you're ready, straightening your legs. And noticing that back body settling, sinking, softening. Yeah, noticing what's still, like just drawing a little kindness with the awareness of what still is holding or unwinding or having a hard time unwinding. And then maybe move your awareness to what feels good, what feels softening. Just that sense of tuning into the changes in your body as you start to relax. Where does it feel good? What is the quality or the process that happens? Really feel it sink into how your body releases. As if your whole body could sigh. Letting that whole body sigh, give permission to all the parts, even the parts that have a hard time unwinding. Whether it's your breath that feels really nourishing or sounds around you, or the quality of the light, sun. Just feeling nourished and held. Letting expansive quality, either within you or around you. Last few breaths, using the breath. We're feeling the breath move you, envelop you, soften you, carry you. And then very gently, very slowly wiggle fingers and toes, bending arms and legs. Slowly roll to your side and letting the continuation of the roll, as if you were rolling face and breastbone into the floor, to come up. Find your seat, make your body comfortable. Dropping right into your heart, into your body, into your breath. Feeling all the different places from which you perceive, like heart awareness, mind awareness, the awareness of heart and mind, breath awareness. The palms together in front of your heart. Again, the sound being an offering to your own being and beyond. Oh. Namaste.